Welcome to Point to Rise, your podcast that gives you permission to dream big, take messy action, and turn your talent into profit while turning your back on perfection. My name is Susanne Purcell, high performance and mindset coach, former international ballerina, profitable entrepreneur, and founder of Point to Rise, a movement designed to empower dancers. It is my mission to use my own story as an inspiration for today's generation of dancers. And now sit back, stretch, warm up, or sip your coffee and love learning how much it matters to point at yourself first to rise to all that you are capable of. And we're back. Good morning, Christy. How are you, my darling?
Well, how are you?
Well, I am, as I just said, truly in awe and in the deepest gratitude. My view right now, I'm overlooking New York City, the East Side, and the Hudson River, and it is just a mind blowing to me. I think if somebody would have told me 30 years ago, this is what you're gonna do, and 30 years from now, you're gonna sit in this apartment and record a podcast while overlooking New York City, I would have probably just given them the middle finger and said, you're out of your mind. So I think the lesson here is that nothing is impossible, truly. You just have to really go and go get what you want. That's not how I got into it right away. So we are talking about what success looks like. And do you want to share how your week was? Just
Yeah.
Oh, my coffee.
Well, this weekend comes to mind. The last week is, I can't even really, I guess it was in preparation for that, but my husband and I are touring new areas of the state of Florida. It's time for a move. It's time for a change in energy. So we're headed to the coast. And so this weekend started the exploration of where that is and what that looks like. And we're really just in the preliminary stage of what that shift really looks like. Like, what are the dynamics of the living scenario that we're looking for and want to have? Our work has pretty much dictated our locations most of our life. Actually, now let's get real, all of our life to this point. And now we're at a place where we'd like the energy and how we feel in an area to dictate why we're there. And then the rest will fall into place. But literally that's been the first check box to figure out is what feels like home, not what is home because this is where the work is. So I think that perhaps could be part of the energy friction that the two of us are feeling around it. And like the, I guess the questions that are coming up in this move, because we've never really had this freedom to say, no, we're choosing based on when we go to a place, like how it makes us feel. So yeah, I think it's an interesting energy with us right now because it's just never been dictated by that. So yeah.
Isn't it? So first of all, I think that's how life should be.
Yeah.
And you're right. Aren't we in some way or another, particularly as performing artists, dictated by where the jobs are to move there and then to adjust and see, where can we live? The job really tells you how you should surround yourself with and what is there versus, okay, what city do I want to live in? And are there possibilities for me to tap into, jobs? And I bet you if we were to switch that perspective, maybe we would find more aligned lifestyles, perhaps occupations, and having that faith. And I think the unsettledness and maybe the push and pull feeling is because it is new.
Yeah.
Because it's a choice and it's a great choice. And it's the first time you're really
consciously choosing that, and your ego is probably like, oh,
Yeah.
freaking out.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's trying to come up with conflicts, basically. And the two of us keep going back to like for my husband, should he look at work first? And then after this weekend, it's like very obvious, no, we have to figure out what area we want to live in first. So it's real, it's so interesting because it's like literal programming of ours that's like short circuiting, or like we're trying to short circuit it and it's trying to like reboot itself back to that kind of mentality, to not have that kind of freedom. So it's a really interesting time.
What about worthiness of this kind of life? Is that coming up too?
No.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah, I don't feel that, because I know that I at this point, like that kind of stuff, I don't typically that doesn't like come up in the worthiness category. I feel like I'm worthy to make the move. It's more the just like vast unknown of like, I don't have a specific area that I know of yet that I'm like, oh, every time I visit such and such an area, because we've never really explored Florida, really. I mean, even growing up, if we vacationed in Florida, we were either seeing relatives in specific areas, or we were coming to Orlando. So that's really the area I know. So it's more just like the big unknown state that I'm just going to start driving through. I have no idea what I'm going to run into. And yeah.
I love that.
So to be continued, we're taking another road trip next weekend. So it's also a reminder that, you know, we are not in a position where any of these decisions have to be rushed. This is not an emergency. No one's going to die. Like all of the things that like come through your mind of like why things are so urgent or have to be like happened or decided right now. And we put all this like overwhelm on stuff like that. We aren't in that position. So it's just reminding ourselves too that like if this process takes 2 or 3 months, so be it, you know? So I think that that's also a lesson that I'm learning. Both of us, my husband and I, are in right now, that stay in the moment, and decisions being rushed or out of fear or out of urgency or overwhelm or whatever aren't going to be in the highest alignment. So to just keep that in mind too.
Yeah. Amen.
I'm kind of a like, make it, like do it, make a decision and like do it. And not everything has to be like that. So I think that's my lesson for this. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, I would say the last week was like a whirlwind of getting things done. I found myself in a very male energy, and it did not feel good. And this is not against any gender. It's just that it's not me anymore. And I was tired. I was exhausted. I didn't find joy. I didn't even go to the beach in Charleston. You know, all these things that I put so much empathy in to really lean into what I need, I totally threw that out the window. And therefore, I found myself in resistance more than over the past 3 months. And the process I had to go through to realize what was happening was just, wow, how much longer is this going to take you, Susie, to actually understand that if you don't take care of yourself, and that needs to be the priority, you're choosing it to be the priority every single day because you know what the other side looks like. It was a good reminder to not slip into this. It was a great reminder to, hey, even if you just feel a little bit out of more tired or unbalanced, this is the consequence. And what came up for me is like, how how on earth did I function all this time? How was I able to step on stage in that complete lack mindset, the fear and all of these fears, the unworthiness, the not taking care of myself in any way? Like, how did I do that? Was that the gift of being younger? Was that really it? Or is it once you actually see the other side, my entire being rejects like full-handedly to go back to that?
I think
It was,
it's not,
it's that, right?
age, it's that. Yeah. Yeah.
Has nothing to do with age, you all.
Well, I think, because I think no matter how old, there are some people that never make that change in frequency. So that's why I think it's not an age thing, because some people go their whole lives and never change from their vibration and their perspective of things, and never really like expand and are open to growth. So I think it's your willingness to do that that's allowing that to happen.
I just remember it was a very interesting story. My last night, my friend and I, we went for dinner and got some ice cream in this very special ice cream joint. And a woman walks in and she looks at the ice cream and says, "Is this lime meringue? Why is it not green? Like, I can't believe it's not green." So she went off on a tangent about the color and how she thought it was something else. Okay. And she was asked if she wants to try it. She's like, "No, I hate it." So she walks out the store, goes to her family, shares the story, goes back in the store, reshares the story to customers that walk in, reshares the story with the sales associate one more time, then tries it, walks out and shares the story one more time with her people. And all I could think of was, oh my goodness, this is how I spent my energy on completely nonsense things that proved that I was looking for proof that the world is completely going wrong and everything is happening to me.
Yeah.
And she didn't realize that I held the door open for her. She didn't realize other people were holding the door open for her. She was so centered in the color that was wrong in her world under her lens that she had no idea about all the great things that had happened to her within those, I don't know, 5 minutes she was in that tangent, 10 minutes. And I'm like, I feel like that's a little bit the state of the world that we're in. This is why you and I talk about gratitude and practicing it. Because yes, we can be sucked in that something just doesn't have the right color because we believe it's not the right color, because we're looking at it under a certain lens. And we completely forget that on the other side, there is so much more, and there's so many more gifts that we completely cut ourselves off to because we think lime meringue needs to be green.
Yeah. I have to share this too. What you said is so deep, and what I'm about to say is not very deep, but the funny thing is it probably didn't have any artificial ingredients, which typically would make your green lime thing. It would never be that green. When you open up a lime, it's not that green inside. No. So it probably just was free of dye, which would have been nicer for her, or artificial flavor or whatever. So that came up for me too.
Yeah, but it's also, right, Christy, you're saying it's not deep, but I think we can completely look at it from an even deeper perspective. It's just because it's not what we think it is doesn't mean it isn't, because we haven't packaged it in a certain way, or we've grown up with that, which leads into, the beliefs that we have brought in from our childhood, something that has been given to us, we're clinging so strong to these because our identity is wrapped around that. That lime has to be this dark green because the color of a lime is green. But it's not what's on the outside. It's what's on the inside that matters.
Yeah.
And when we focus on everything that's on the outside of us, all the pretty things and the things we don't get and completely forget about what we are capable of and our inside and what colors we have in there, we lose track. And it was so interesting for me to see her. I almost felt sorry for her. Like I wanted to walk up to her and shake her and say, hey, you have this beautiful granddaughter sitting there. Your family is gorgeous. What on earth are you talking about?
Yeah.
So that little side story.
Wow. Yeah.
Success. Let's talk about success. So there are two reasons why I wanted to really talk about that. One is in the performing arts, we're so clinged on a certain way success needs to look like. And if we're not getting there, we never made it.
Yeah.
And B, I was asked that question at a dinner on Friday, and I chose to go last. I wanted to listen to everybody because I hadn't really honestly assessed myself. Hey, what is it really truly looking for you right now at this very moment? What does success look like? And is your definition of success something that you're clinging on because you don't feel seen? Or is it something deeper? So I don't know. Do you want to start up? For me, it's going to take 10 minutes to get that out.
Sure. Two things that just popped out from you that resonated, I just wrote down because it's very in alignment with my perspective of this. You said two things. You said the term making it, and then you said just now feeling seen. So I will reflect on what I would have said. Oh my goodness. Even 3 years ago for me, but certainly 10, 15 years ago is all when I reflect on all the things that I had for goals of what I was shooting for and what in my mind was success for me, it was all based around those two things, making it so I could feel seen. Because to me, and I would say everything was wrapped around making it, like that phrase, that like those two words were circulating in my mind constantly, like to achieve, to make it, to be seen, to validate. So for me, success was how many impressive things can I rack up that I can like spew out or have on a playbill bio or tell people I just did, because that then would make me feel like somebody. Success for me was wanting to feel like somebody. Point blank. So now I reflect on that with a lot of empathy for that feeling that I felt that way. And that's my journey. That's how I ended up on this journey. Now success to me, when I think of like what that means to me, that just means I have the freedom to choose what I do, choose how I live, choose what I get to do each day, to choose the things that bring me joy versus having to do things that don't bring me joy. Really it really comes down to that. So freedom, obviously, that means a lot of things, emotionally, spiritually, in my lifestyle, in abundance, financially, like all of those things to me. I feel success for me means choice and joy. Yep. And regardless of what that monetarily comes to or achievement wise comes to, I personally don't, I'm just not in alignment. Like I look at old goals even from a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I'm just not in alignment with most of them because I still had a part of me that was looking for that. So I could say, I'm a 6-figure business owner. I'm a 7-figure business owner. I have this accolade. I have this accolade, because I didn't still understand fully how to change my internal world to feel enough and be okay if somebody looks at what I'm currently doing and poo-poos it. And it's the first time in my life that I really am okay with that. Or to say someone to say, well, she's not really a successful businesswoman, whatever their definition of success is. That's okay. That's really okay to me, because their definition of it might not be what sounds appealing to me. So, two very different sides of the perspective, and I still have to be very cautious when I say, oh yeah, I want to do blah. Why? Like, if I want to write another book, why do you want to write another book? And I have to sit with myself, is it because you have information and value to bring and you want to publish that to give to others, or do you want to just say you wrote another book? And it's a very sticky thing that I have to have a lot of awareness of, which has actually caused a lot of confusion in the last year or so because of that shift and that it almost feels like bouncing sometimes, because I'll have something that feels like a great idea or something that feels in alignment, but it's really not. It's going back to like, no, you're just doing that for an accolade or for whatever. So I will digress for now.
Interesting. So success for me was always something that I looked for from others, meaning I never had a definition for myself. I only chose my definition, or what I really was striving for what it meant to others, meaning in what box can I fit myself in. So, and it came down to the not feeling worthy and wanting to be seen, and building my success and my definition of success around other people's. And it wasn't too long ago that I actually realized, oh my gosh, you don't know what that really means to you. Was it, being completely free, financially free, location free? Like, how do I want to feel in here to be successful? And so I want to start with that. I gave myself permission that success can look different in any kind of stage that I'm in, or phase, or, phase in my life. So right now, success for me, like true success, looks like freedom and choice, for sure. And it also looks like letting go of who I was, the person that is so fearful to touch anything, the person that is, afraid to shine because she thinks she has no right to, because she was told over and over and over again that that's too big for you, you never be able to. Letting her go and sending her off with love, that is success for me. 100%. Because I know that once she really truly has said her farewell, everything else will fall in place. Yeah. So that's my definition of success. And I want to say that if you as a listener don't really know what success is to you, not what success is to the industry or to somebody else or the person that you're living with or your parents or your teachers. No, you. What do you really want? what does success feel like to you? You're just going to be chasing somebody else's definition. And when you do that, it's not your own life that you're building, it's somebody else's. And therefore, um, I don't think you will find true peace and fulfillment ever. You're just going to chase, and everything you achieve will not be enough because it's not coming from your soul. It's out of alignment. Yeah, that's really all I really have for today. I think this is a call to action to really sit down and think about, what does success look like to you? Is it being in New York City and dancing on the big stages? Or does success look to you like, okay, maybe a smaller company is better for me, suits what I want right now, not what you get, but what you want right now to accommodate the lifestyle that you're choosing? Is it a different city that suits your needs better? Is it a different neighborhood you're going to move in, a different, director that you want to work with? I think success is choices, making your own choices versus depending on other people's boxes that you should be fitting in too.
Yeah.
So, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It has to feel in alignment. It really does, to who you are, outside of regardless of what is outside of you.
I find so much, especially in younger incoming artists, that these kind of conversations don't even happen.
No.
That they're not prepared. They know how to fill out an unemployment form. However, they don't know how to set a goal or know what success looks like or how to prepare themselves for the day or like, name it and it's in there, right? So instead of waiting and blaming the outside world, it is your choice and it's your right and it's your energy to put into who you want to become, and giving yourself the permission that that can change at any given moment. And it really starts with, like, what do you want your life to look like and what does success look like to you? And knowing that it can change at any given moment. It does not make you an indecisive person. It doesn't make you somebody that goes from one side to the other. Don't believe in those stories. These remarks come from people that are, I don't know, well, judgmental, and maybe even don't know themselves what they want and how they want to show up in life. So
Yeah.
there you have it. There is your Thursday coffee chat with Christy and Susanne. We would, Christy, do you have anything to add? I'm sorry, I didn't ask.
No, where I said it. It's, for me, it's gotten a lot more simplistic. So
Yeah, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So what we would love to see is your definition of success. Be brave, be bold, share it with us, share it with your friends, with your followers, with your fans, and truly, like, make this a ripple effect in giving ourselves permission, not judging each other, but opening up this conversation around, what do you want to see? How do you want to show up? What is success to you? What does it look like? And what does it feel like? So share it with us, tag us, and we will gladly reshare whatever you believe is your truth right now. So we're sending you guys so much love. Don't forget, on Saturday, August 28th, New York City networking event for performing artists. It's in the bio, link to sign up. It's completely free. Come and join us. Tap into that community that, nobody knows what performing arts actually are going to look like moving forward. There are so many variances out there in every possible way. And I believe truly that the stronger your support system is that you choose to build, the better you will show up in whatever way stages or, art centers are going to handle their next stage of performing. So we are sending you so much love and till very soon. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. If this message resonates with you, please pass it on to someone who needs to hear this right now. And if you like what you've heard, your feedback will go a very long way. If you just take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review, that would mean the world to me. Till next time, point at yourself to rise to all that you are capable of.